Good day, nerds, and welcome to episode 29 of the Nerd Cantina Show. I'm your host, Ken, joined by Steve. Today we're going to cover the weekly nerd news. We're going to lead off by talking the latest on Disney World, Disneyland's Star Wars Galaxy Edge. We've got a new offer by Apple seeking all hackers. The Game of Thrones showrunners get a big payday coming from Netflix. We're going to discuss the latest in Twitch versus Mixer and the streamer Ninja and his stance on all of this. And then we've got a little discussion around both violent video games, violent movies, and the reaction in those communities to the violence that took place last week.
And not a lot of pop culture news. We're going to get into some societal issues and see what you guys' opinion is on that. So we're looking forward to it. Let's get to the show.
Calling back all nerds. Nerds!
All right, nerds, welcome to episode 29 of the Nerd Cantina Show. And first, before we get into the weekly news, want to go ahead and remind everybody to visit our YouTube channel, the Nerd Cantina YouTube channel, as Steve's got some new movie reviews up there. What movies were you able to get up there this weekend?
I went and saw Brian Banks Thursday night, and I've already posted that review. Today's Monday, and I went and saw The Kitchen yesterday, and I'll be making that video and writing both reviews tonight. So by the time this airs, they both should be up on the channel, both be up on the website. So if you have any interest in both those movies, go check them out.
Yeah, a little lesser known movies, not big blockbusters. So if you're looking for a movie to go see, go check out the channel, see if this sways your decisions coming into the weekend.
Well, let's get into some news.
Yeah, so the first topic that I wanted to talk about was there was a lot of articles coming. Last week had Disney's Shareholder called, so they had their big panel, had to explain all their profits and everything else. So we got some news, some things that I think everybody knew. There was a lot of talk over the Fox movie production slate that they're pretty much just scrapping because the old Fox movies like Dark Phoenix just bombed so terribly and lost so much money that they had to answer the shareholders, and now Disney's pretty much taken full control over the Fox movie slate and killing that. But then what was really interesting in there is they really had to talk a lot about the failure of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and how much that has actually caused a significant drop in attendance, a significant drop in just interest in the theme parks. They even justified it as a part of it is really what's true is that a lot of the casual goers of the theme park just stayed away because they assumed it was going to be so nuts, because they really made it seem like it was going to be so nuts with the reservation system that you had to have in order to get there. And then because Disney promoted it so significantly, all of the hotels drastically increased their prices into the summer season. So you have the Disney ticket prices were the highest this year. They went up by $50. You've got every hotel around there drastically jacking up their prices for the summer. And then it just took the casual fans where they said, no thanks. And attendance is significantly down.
So this is, I think, how do you measure success, right? And
money.
And that's the thing is when you're a company that rakes in $2.something billion on one movie, and you have these certain level of expectations, what do you measure as a success? So we all know that they didn't lose money on this fucking park. There's not a goddamn way. They
just had lower profits. Yes, are they still profitable in the theme parks? Yes, but they had significantly lower, missed their projections, and that's a big deal to shareholders.
I understand that, but at the same time, this is, I feel, something that needs to happen occasionally with capitalism. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying, so the thing with these corporations, the Amazons, the Disneys, the Walmarts, the major just people that suck the American dollars out of our economy, is they want all of the monies. I can has all of the monies is their motto. And in trying to do so, they fuck themselves, and I'm actually proud of consumers for saying, you know what, if this is how you're going to treat us, like we're just made of fucking money, and we're just going to hand you, the fucking Fry meme from Futurama, take my money. Like, yeah, there are those situations where we just throw dollars at something because it's so cool. But this wasn't one of those situations. They priced out the average American to be able to do these things. You know what I mean? Like, you have season passes and live half an hour away from there, and you still haven't gone because of this shit.
No, and it goes into, again, part of the reason why the theme park is just empty is they also drastically increased leading into the season. So we have like the California resident season passes, and I didn't even realize this. We still can't go at all in the summer. Weekdays, weekends, doesn't matter. We cannot go until, I think it's like after Labor Day, to any of the parks, let alone Galaxy Edge. So I didn't even realize that we were that blacked out. So yeah, they increased blackout dates where it really used to just be the weekends, but now it's
so really their fault is their own marketing. So they marketed to the families with a bunch of disposable income that had that urge to be first, right? So there was a whole shit ton of people that just had to see it first. I gotta go there. I gotta know. I gotta know. And I understand that mentality. I have that mentality in a few of my nerd things that I love and things like that. You just got to know. I've bought every Xbox on release day. I pitched a tent for the Xbox One outside Best Buy because I couldn't pre-order it. I get that mentality, but that Xbox was $400, not a $4,000 fucking family vacation, So they essentially block themselves out of maximizing profits. And I'm kind of glad this is a lesson they need to learn. If you want to maximize profits, don't fuck over the middle, the middle class, the middleman. Like we are important too. We have money to spend, but if you're going to treat us like, we want all of the monies we can get at one time, and we want to maximize this and maximize that. I'm actually really proud that a lot of consumers were like, "No, I can wait. Like I could wait, bro. It's California. I'll take a vacation in the middle. I'm from Chicago. Like I have no rush to go to California in June to go to the Galaxy's Edge. If I'm going to leave Chicago and go to California, it's going to be in fucking February when it's fucking -20 and 3 feet of snow. Yeah, I'm going to bone out to California then. So like, people like me, they box themselves out from, and I hope they learned that lesson. I hope that the shareholders were pissed and they were in a meeting and they were like, all right, well, we have another park opening in Florida soon. Maybe we shouldn't do the same, marketing strategy. Maybe we should make it affordable. And I'd rather have people complaining about long lines and not having access than have this instant surge the first 2 months and then it's a fucking ghost town, because you're right, everybody assumes that it's still packed and it's not, so maybe now that this article comes out, they're going to get another fucking surge, and then it'll be, what I mean, we're going to play this kind of evening out game. The pendulum's just going to swing back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, summer's over. Their big money making season is done. Unfortunately, a lot of the complaints are that, yeah, I mean, there's a huge influx of jobs that takes place in the summer. All their hours were cut. A lot of people getting fired. Like Disneyland is no longer having like their surge employees.
Brenda with the cantina backstory. Like she learned all her history for nothing.
Well, not just in Star Wars. You're talking about the whole theme park realm, which is thousands of jobs.
Well,
a lot of them are scholarship
try
jobs.
To take advantage of that, considering that everybody was in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? Did you try to go to like Magic Kingdom for a day and just walk the empty streets of Magic Kingdom?
No, like I said, we're blacked out from the entire theme park.
From the entire theme park with the passes?
Yeah, we can't go anywhere.
Oh, see, that's some bogus ass shit. That's just stupid marketing. Like they knew that they were going to get the influx for Galaxy's Edge, but to tell their regular customers that you're not welcome here either until we even out, that's messed up.
And blackout dates always existed for a lot of the summer, but it was increased by a significant amount for this year. So we'll see what happens. I think part of their problem is Star Wars Galaxy Edge wasn't even finished when they did this big release, which it's good that they just got it out there. But there was only one ride that was done, not the 3 that's scheduled. But the people who've been going love Star Wars Galaxy Edge. I just think I think they alienated themselves from
the stupid
casual
part of
people.
this story, I think, is that they feel it's been such a failure that they're going to rebrand Star Wars Galaxy Edge into an Aladdin themed park and maximize on the movie remakes. Like, that's the dumbest thought process I think I've ever heard. Ever heard.
That'll never happen. That's
we just spent 3 years constructing and all this hype and we had a huge surge when the park wasn't even finished. But because we didn't hit our projections, we're going to scrap all that shit and then open a Will Smith genie-based Aladdin park? Nah. Nah.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's any chance that happens. They're rebranding it. That'd be such a terrible thing for all nerds, for people who want to go see it somewhere in the future. And there was a lot of money spent on this, so doubt it. I think that's just stupid rumors coming from angry employees and stuff. But let's move on from Disney talk here. And
I like this. I like this next story too.
So the next one is, if you are a hacker, go ahead and get your gear ready. And Apple has announced that they've confirmed that they've upped their reward for anybody who can hack an iPhone up to a $1 million reward. Previously, it was set at $200,000, and it was only open to certain individuals that were invited by the company. But now they're extending it. Who's open to do it, and $1 million if you can hack an iPhone.
I have to believe that someone's going to achieve this purse. And it would not surprise me if it was some dude's ex-girlfriend named Shantae trying to find out this dude's DMs. Because I'm telling you right now, there's a whole handful of ex-girlfriends right now that will get them DMs, and if you put $1 million price tag on it, they're gonna be about that life. I'm telling you.
Yeah, so I think this is awesome. It's one of the reasons why, even though I'm not an Apple guy, I respect Apple. It's cool to see them put their own systems to the test. They're all about privacy. They're so much more than Android, and here they're putting their money where their mouth is. Hey, they want to test their privacy. They want to ensure that they're getting some active attempts at cracking into an iPhone. And you have to, in order to get the $1 million, you have to do it with absolutely no user input from the owner of it. So you have to do it 100% cold.
You gotta crack it.
And it's, like I said, I think it's cool. I think it just talks about where the priorities of the company is, and I think this is good publicity. I'm sure somebody's going to break it.
Well, essentially, they're open sourcing their security. What's a better way than to? So instead of paying a team of eggheads $1 million to try to do it in a lab, you might as well give the money out to the world and have the best hackers on the planet trying to do this. Because you figure they're going to spend that money in testing and R&D anyways. So now they're instead of using the in-house eggheads that they have, they're outsourcing to every egghead on the planet, which it's actually a really good strategy if you ask me.
No, I think it's really, and like I said, I think it's really cool, the concept in security, both physical security and network security, is that your security is only effective against those that are dumber than you. You can't, you got to think about the way you build locks and the way you do anything is you can only protect yourself against the people that you are smarter than, because you can think of how they would have cracked in and you can defend against that. Now, there's people out there who are doing shit you've never even heard of, so you can't protect yourself against those.
You've got 12-year-olds hacking voting machines and shit. So obviously the 60-year-old dude programming voting machines for our goddamn government is not ahead of that 12-year-old. So yeah, this kind of shit needs to be done. And that's the thing is it's not just Americans either. There's some dude in China right now that is a crazy hacker trying to get this milli. So it is aiming to protect us against not just, like you said, the lowest common denominator, but the highest common denominator. And I've had an iPhone since iPhone 3, and I've never switched over to Android or any of the other phones, not out of product loyalty or it's sheer laziness. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't want to learn a new OS. Anytime somebody hands me a Galaxy Edge or whatever at the club to type in something or I need to look something up, it just goes in my hand and I look at it and I don't even know how to get back to the home screen. I'm just like, ew. And I don't want to re-download apps. I don't want to, it's out of sheer convenience that I've stuck with Apple because it's the first one I bought. But the stance they took when the government wanted them to unlock the phone for that domestic terrorist, that they were like, no, we can't get into these phones. We're not giving up our code. And that now that they're taking this stance, I do stand behind that. We have very limited privacy in this new millennial that we're living in, and I'll take any bit of privacy I can get.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm hoping they give a big press release if somebody actually does hack in and they let everybody know that. But that'll probably be quiet.
You think they're the minute the dude hacks them, they'll make him sign an NDA.
Yeah, an NDA and give him his $1 million hush money. But either way, it's a cool story. So if you've got some hacking skills, go ahead and put it to the $1 million test, I guess.
Yeah.
Moving on to let's talk some entertainment news, and some big news came in TV. Streaming, whatever we call it nowadays. I guess it's still TV.
Yeah.
And
I juice.
But you've got the two Davids from Game of Thrones. So David Benioff and D.B. Weiss signing a $200 million deal for development with Netflix.
Have they said if it's content specific? Like, do we even know the content, or we just know that they're going to do something for $200 million?
They are paid as two human beings, just people to come and bring their creative genius exclusively to Netflix.
So the numbers, like we mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but these numbers are absolutely shocking. So last year they spent $12 billion on content. Then Friends expired and Office expired and stuff, and they reached out to keep those for another year. This year they're slated to spend $15 billion on content, then another $3 billion on marketing. So that's $18 billion to operate Netflix, and they're slated to rake in an estimated $20 billion in revenue. So that leaves $2 billion profit, and that's not even the overhead of running servers, paying salaries. You know what I mean? So you figure they're profiting a little less than $2 billion. I don't want to sound like an asshole and say that $2 billion in profit is not a benchmark win for any company, but is it though? Like, when you're talking about Netflix numbers, that's high risk. Like, to have to spend $18 billion to make $2 billion, like, that's. If you quantify that down to like real estate numbers, you got to spend $150,000 on $180,000 on a property to make a $200,000 sell on your investment. That's not a risk anybody's taking. I deal in real estate all the time. There's nobody that's going to invest $180,000 to build or remodel a home just to sell it for $200,000.
In the end, there's difference in speculating that way.
I'm just trying to profits, make these numbers relatable to our audience. You know what I mean? Like,
there's no relating. there's no relating for us dummies. Like, this is again, you're talking about $20 billion total, and
these numbers are huge.
It is absurd, and Netflix can't lose subscription base. That's where they lose money, right?
And that's the
they can lose
part.
money in that what we're talking about there. Like, that's okay, cool, $2 billion in a year. They will lose way more than that in market value if they take a significant hit in shareholders because they lose 5% of their subscription base, right?
Well, yeah,
that's
with
where
Disney
they get crushed.
Plus and Hulu package coming out soon. You got CBS All Access coming in hard with the Picard show and some other shows.
You get the boys.
DC Universe taking a small sliver of streaming services. Womp womp. Amazon coming in hard with the boys, and then the Lord of the Rings show is going to drop sometime in the next year.
Yeah, no, the streaming services are all
and
coming up with great content.
They mentioned, I guess Comcast is coming out with a streaming service now also soon. That's news to me also. What do they own? What are they going to be able to provide?
Comcast owns NBC. We always knew NBC was coming out with their own. So I think that's the one that they're mentioning. Comcast, NBC
I figured
is the same.
The article would have said NBC rather than Comcast if Comcast didn't own other entities besides NBC to put on the streaming service.
I'm sure they own a bunch of other products and channels, but their primary ownership is in NBC.
I'm just saying the app isn't going to be called like NBC.
Yeah, I don't know.
Flicks.
Maybe it will. Maybe it will NBC Universal, because I mean that's all under the same arm. So either way, it's cool to see. I mean, good for these guys. You did Game of Thrones,
it's good for
and
competition. So competition drives down pricing. So it's good for competition. It's good for net neutrality. With all these companies coming out with streaming services, the minute Comcast or a Time Warner starts to really try to throttle these services and play some bullshit with net neutrality, you're going to get huge pushback, not only from the American people, but now these giant fucking media conglomerates that have all switched over to streaming. I think overall, I mean, we might get hit in our pocketbook a little bit if, for us nerds that really like to absorb all this content, our pocketbooks are going to get hit a little bit. I think you're going to see a lot of password swapping going on between people, but I think overall it's going to be a good thing for the future of content.
It's definitely a good sign for content and where content's going to be placed, and the fact that a $200 million offer was made, and this is just a winning offer. Every streaming service was offering these guys to come and join their team. It's crazy to me that Disney didn't win something for once. Disney didn't win a bid. But
they're
Netflix,
doing 3 Star Wars movies, so Disney already had them.
Yeah, true.
so like, but Disney just wanted
is,
all of the Game of Thrones showrunner stuff. They just want to lock them down. So I don't think they were fighting too hard, just because like we already got them for Star Wars. Like they're already doing 3 movies for us. Like,
I know. I just
let them go play in
imagine
that shitty Netflix sandbox for a while. They'll come back. They'll want that Disney money.
I don't know. I just imagine that these guys walk into the boardrooms for all these companies
with huge boners.
Like Peter Dinklage in The Elf, when he comes in there to save the company with his little black book of ideas, right? That's just what I picture these guys walking in. Is they just walk in. They're not pitching
a little
anything
book,
specific.
and he just shits all over the table with these
just random pages. Just opens up, be like, all right, I got an idea here. and
that's the perfect analogy.
Because there's no specific shows tied to this. It's just purely these dudes and their creative
They're buying
talent.
their brain juice. Brain juice. That's it.
And now $200 million of pressure is put on them to produce something in the next 12 months. Like, period.
While producing a Star Wars trilogy.
So we'll see what happens here. But I think it is cool to see such competition in these streaming services.
Yeah,
and
like I said, it's going to be interesting to see where all this shit plays out in the future. Like, this is a whole new frontier. Our parents or grandparents, were around when cable first came out, and people were, why am I going to buy this box? I've been getting these channels for free on my little clicky clacky, channel switching TV, and I don't need these channels. And cable ate the fucking world, so this is our turn to watch this giant shift in entertainment culture. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes.
Let's move into a little bit of gaming talk. As what we're looking at is there was some big news in Twitch versus Mixer. You had, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, when Ninja came out and said that, hey, he is signed on to be exclusively gaming through Mixer. Which is a big shift. I don't know if anybody was significantly.
Well, I mean, if
Mixer.
you remember our show at Matt Bosco, I had mentioned Mixer to him, and it was like oh yeah, Mixer, that shit's still around. Like we were talking about Mixer going way to the Zune player,
Yeah.
But obviously, they're gonna double down on this shit. They're gonna market it. And to me, it's gonna be interesting because Mixer is Microsoft's version of Twitch. And as most, I think, Twitch streamers are PC, I want to say. I don't know what the ratios are. I don't know if those numbers are quantified or anything, but I would say that the majority of Twitch streamers do it from their PC, but you do have a lot of PlayStation and Xbox Ones on there. With Xbox now putting a lot of money into Mixer, are they going to start nudging Twitch out of the game? So are they going to delete the Twitch app off the Microsoft store? They do. A lot
Probably
of people.
not.
A lot of people are on gaming, but most PCs run Windows. So is Windows going to be like, yeah, fuck a Twitch? This is. Are we going to start seeing the video game streaming wars? Is this the first shot across the bow?
Yeah, it's interesting just to see Microsoft's really now trying to promote into this. And was it really Microsoft really going hard at it, or was it problems that Ninja already had with Twitch, and now he's trying to monetize his life elsewhere? And we see that this latest, I think this happened yesterday or 2 days ago, where on Ninja's account, his old Twitch channel, so he's no longer streaming to Twitch, but his channel still exists. He can't get rid of it.
Which I don't. I don't understand how that works. Like when you hit delete account on any of these social media platforms, they usually hold them because they think that you're going to have this come to Jesus moment and realize that you totally screwed your life by not being on social media and come back. So even when you delete your account, it's not truly deleted for a few months after that.
Yeah, so for the people who are subscribers to his Twitch channel and getting sent to his Twitch channel,
14.7 million subscribers. Let's get that out there.
Yeah, they're now, instead of seeing him stream, Twitch is using his channel to promote other Fortnite players. So they're just taking the most popular other Fortnite channels and they're putting them on his Twitch account in order to encourage other people to find people to subscribe to and stay on Twitch. And one of those most popular accounts
Staying with American culture.
happened to be playing pornography on it.
And gee, isn't it weird how that pornography Twitch channel was the number one streamed at the time?
Number one Fortnite stream. Like, Fortnite's popular. Nobody's more popular than porn.
Yeah, I don't care what game you're playing. Boobs will kill you.
And so somebody was on a Fortnite branded stream channel just streaming porn, which got put on Ninja's account. A lot of people on Twitter or whatever else blaming Ninja, acting like he has some kind of control over this. He doesn't have control over his own channel on Twitch. Twitch controls it. Twitch can promote other channels using his channel, which is exactly what they did, and it just happened to be porn. And yeah, Twitch has come out and had statements, apologizing and everything else since. But Ninja's been pretty damning over Twitch.
Well, because Ninja has sponsors, right? So he doesn't just make money off his streams. He's been in commercials. He's done, like all kinds of sponsorship ads and collaborations with people. By this happening, that puts that in jeopardy. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these are family-owned companies. Because he plays a game that the winner of the Fortnite tournament, like we said, was 16. So you have minors that follow this guy. Most of his following are minors. So for them to be exposed to this is a really bad look. And even though Ninja had nothing to do with it, you could have a sponsor say, look, man, it doesn't matter. Your brand now is tainted, because that's the big thing is you're not just yourself anymore. You're a brand. And, if that happens, he's got a big lawsuit he could take up with Twitch.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see where this shapes out to be with this competition. I'm really curious to see if Mixer is going to start, either signing big other streamers and making press releases around this and creating almost like a market between Twitch and Mixer in having exclusive rights to streamers, because I don't know, maybe that exists already. It's just never at the level of Ninja, one of the most popular streamers in the world, being essentially signed like he's a part of that team or that production company now. They're treating it slightly differently. It looks like it's shaping out to be a little different. And
I'm assuming that's the way since esports is becoming huge, I'm assuming that's the way it's going to go, because this kid that just won the Fortnite tournament for $3 million, Mixer or Twitch would probably like to sign him to an exclusive contract if he's going to be streaming his practice sessions and shit like that. So like I definitely see that being kind of the future of, all right, kid, why don't you come over to Mixer, we'll buy you all new equipment, we'll do this, we'll do that. Like, I definitely see it going in that direction.
Yeah. And I'm just curious on if this switch for Ninja, does it make Mixer any more relevant? Or are most gamers still just laughing at Mixer?
Well, if you're on Xbox, it is, I want to say, a little bit easier to stream to Mixer because it is a more integrated kind of system. Twitch being an outside of Microsoft application, you have to do a little bit more configuring and things like that. We've kind of dabbled into the Twitch thing. We're not really,
but we're for sale.
Serious.
If Mixer wants to buy us, we'll switch right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I created a Nerd Cantina gamer tag just in case we want to start using Mixer, that we could have a gamer tag that says the Nerd Cantina, because I was trying to figure out how to create a Nerd Cantina channel, but I think everything's tied to your gamer tag, so I locked that up real quick just to make sure we had it. But yeah, I'm sitting on the sideline waiting to see where this goes and try to do what's most popular, I guess.
Well, a little more into video game news, but a different tone. Let's move to the news that Walmart. There was some memos that people were sending pictures of employees of Walmart posting on Twitter, posting on Instagram, all kinds of pictures of them taking down all signage, all violent video games, any displays. So following the two mass shootings that took place in both El Paso and Dayton, you've got the president and some others, tweeting and coming out and talking about, violent video games being to some part to blame, that it's a part of our culture, and violent video games encouraging this type of behavior in our culture. And then Walmart, where one of the shootings
on this last week, and it's still continuing.
And then where Walmart, one of these mass shootings, the El Paso shooting taking place at a Walmart, Walmart being one of probably the biggest seller of physical games and physical gaming items. They're the big dogs in this fight, and they've decided to double down on that concept that violent video games, at least for the time being, are pulling all violent video games from any type of marketing from the shelves. I'm sure they're still going to sell these things. They're not going to let them just collect dust in the back, but they're no longer prominently displaying them, as well as taking down any type of signage. So it's an interesting take from, again, probably the number one seller of video games.
Yeah, it's a little hypocritical, because 10 aisles down you can go buy an AR. Who you really helping, Waltons? Like, are you really concerned about society? Like, or is this just, them marketing to the moms of the Walmart world that come in and don't know nothing about this subject really, and just think that it's a PR move. You know what I mean?
I think that's really what it comes down to. They don't need to care. Walmart doesn't need to care whether there's any science behind violent video games having any effect on the violence of individuals who play. Right? There's no science. There's no actual truth to this. Violent video games are to blame. But they don't need to care about that, because what they do need to care about is the ignorant people who are never going to read the science are their consumers, and they need to kind of protect themselves from both that connotation, and because one of the shootings took place in the store, I could see them really wanting to get away from the tweets and Instagram postings from mom there who's saying like, I can't believe this. 20 people just died in their store, and look what they're promoting. Look what they're
still
so
selling
prominently
Call of
displaying.
Duty.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I can.
Well, fuck you, Brenda. I don't care. That's really my stance. Is fuck you, Brenda. Go to fucking Target then. Like, and that's, I understand that's what Walmart's trying to avoid, but I am so tired of corporations and whoever else catering to the lowest common denominator of society and making decisions for the general public on what is good for us. I don't need you to fucking tell me what's good for me. I don't need you to, and this leads into our next topic also, but I don't need these giant corporations to police my, what, I don't even know how to put this in words, like my content, what goes into my eyes, my ears, what my thoughts are. I don't need you in my fucking head policing my decision making and things like that. This is just really kind of scary where our society's going to. We make decisions based on our feels, not on logic, not on science, not on facts. Everything nowadays is about how it makes you feel. And I'm sorry, we live in a free country, and I have the right to not give a fuck about how you feel.
Yeah. Where I think it draws kind of a bad distinction is when they stop making the games available to buy. They have the choice of what they want to promote and what they want to prominently display.
I don't give a shit. Yeah, like it's like cigarette ads, alcohol ads. We got rid of them all, but we didn't ban alcohol. We didn't ban cigarettes. I'm fine with that. But to say they're not even going to be on the shelf, we're not going to, all we're going to sell is Mario Kart and Bubble Bobble. Like, fuck you then. Fuck you. I haven't walked into a Walmart in 15 years because I think they're the goddamn devil. So this really doesn't affect my life that much. I've taken minor stances in my consumerism over my lifetime. I've not walked into a Walmart in probably 15 years. I haven't pulled into a BP gas station since the oil spill and how horrid it came out that they are as a company. I won't do it. I have been damn near on E to where I was fearing pushing my car and seeing that green BP gas station and kept on rolling and said, no, I'd rather push this motherfucker than give them one of my dollars. And I honestly feel that more people should take that kind of power in your consumerism. I realize that I still shop at Amazon on occasion and other horrible ass fucking companies.
I would say I'm not that guy,
but
I'll spend wherever.
If we all picked one company though, if every American picked one or two companies and said, no, you are the worst, so I am not going to shop at what I feel is the worst, that has a lot of power. I truly believe that has a lot of power. So I hope it does. I hope
you just can't get Americans to agree on who's the worst.
No, you don't need to agree. There's 300 million Americans, so whatever you feel is the worst, don't shop there. There's going to be other people that probably agree with you, and you'll never talk to each other. You don't need to start a Down with Walmart Facebook group or something like that. But whatever you are in an American, wherever you like to shop, whatever subject you are passionate about, find the company that is totally antithesis to that and fuck them. Don't give them your money. That your money has power.
Well, and this is Walmart fearing Brenda from becoming the don't shop at Walmart because they have violent video games.
Should they fear Brenda, or should they fear losing the video game community? Because Brenda wasn't going to buy that fucking game anyways.
Yeah, but the real video game community is not going into Walmart to buy the games anyway.
I don't know, man.
They're buying them straight to their devices.
So we both are from big
digital
cities.
Downloads.
We're both from big cities, and we're both from are used to having total access to any product we want at any time. I live right outside Chicago. I can get anything I want anywhere. There are a lot of people that live in rural areas that don't have the bandwidth to download these games, that the Walmart is the only thing within 50 miles that can provide them the consumer products that they want. I mean, I do see. But I mean, that's still a thing.
Yes, there are some.
That's still a thing.
But yeah, in the general scheme of things, while they sell a lot of video games, they sell a whole lot more other stuff, and those are the consumers that they're most worried about. But to not continue tangenting on Walmart, because we still another kind of ripple effect of the violence and a lot of the outcry is in movie news. The movie The Hunt gets canceled, and we had some personal debate about this, whether is this a good thing, is this a nothing, and I still am on the fence. I don't. Yeah,
we had
at
least I think 5 people share the same article in our Facebook community. So obviously we have a portion of the audience that cares about this subject and is interested to see where this goes. I understand, like I said, I understand the mindset. I do. But
first, for people who don't know what this movie is, do you know much about the premise that you can explain?
So from what I've gotten of it, it was a politically motivated kind of like a murder, a group of people are riled up from political discourse. They start acting violently, and then the opposite side takes like defense against that. So you could sub in whoever you want, Antifa, Proud Boys, whatever. One of these groups gets riled up and wants to create violence, and then the regular Joe Schmo, I think, ends up fighting them off. And I mean, it plays into kind of our modern day society's tone. And that's kind of why it got canceled. I think these companies were, what I really think it is liability. I think it's universal. If there is another shooting after this movie comes out, so I think they're just really afraid of one of these fucking idiot, nutballs putting The Hunt in a manifesto. And then the minute The Hunt is in the manifesto, they are now opened up to huge lawsuits from victims' families. And I really think that's all this is about. I honestly do.
Yeah, I think it is weird when a movie that does essentially glorify violence against political rivals, and not like not Clinton versus Trump. We're talking about political parties.
But we don't know if it glorifies it yet, because the way the plot was described is that the political rivals did create violence, but society, from what I mean, we don't know, but from the society pushed back against those becoming violent because of their radical views. So it was like a movie about the political violence, but society kind of handling that, I guess, or one person handling that. But I mean, where do you draw the line though? Like, are we supposed to never make movies like Boys in the Hood? Are we supposed to never make movies like Arlington Road? There's a lot, movies reflect society. That's what they do. They reflect society. Yeah, if we don't like our movies being like this, then quit fucking acting like this in real life.
honestly, I think it's just weird that this movie ever got greenlit in the first place. It really, at least at the premise that it's kind of getting shared around the internet, which who knows how true it really is, and what this movie is.
And that's my point: is release it and let the Americans be the judge of this. And that's my whole frustration is I'm tired of being a grown ass intelligent man and having people with money try to tell me what's good for me and what I need. Like that's what this is.
Yeah, I just find it like did it really, for you said that this was Universal that did this. Did it really take another 2 mass shootings for Universal to have a new thought process in this? Like, no, mass shootings have been taking place for years. This has been years in the making, right? This was probably first pitched years ago. It was then written and agreed upon somewhere down the road. There was at
least 6 mass shootings while the whole greenlit production was getting made.
It was then made. Trailers dropped. Release date set. Heading to the theaters, and then this is when you have enough information to change your mind and cancel it. It's like, that's what's just super weird about this. How does this ever get greenlit if it's truly so distasteful?
And like
if it isn't so distasteful, then just don't have a knee-jerk reaction and don't cancel it now.
I live in Chicago. 50 people shot this weekend, 9 or 10 dead, 3 of them under the age of 7. What are we? Should we shut down Empire now? Should we shut down the show Empire? Should we shut why are we not, they're not going to shut down every TV show that shows gang violence. They're not going to ban every movie that shows gang violence. They're not, why do we pick and choose these things? I understand maybe in this climate, make it a hard NC-17 then or something. Like, we don't want any impressionable minds, young minds coming to see this. This is only for adults that have the wherewithal to make these decisions. I don't like this. Like I said, we as a society, we keep catering to the lowest common denominator of society, and that is just not the way I want to live. It's not the way I want to buy things. It's not the way I want to watch things. It's not the way I want to choose things. It's a horrible system to be under. We're catering our society to the people that create warning labels. You know what I mean? There's always that joke is just rip the warning labels off and let Darwinism take hold of this shit. Like, yeah, man, I'm like, I just can't anymore with this shit. I can't.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I actually would really like to see this movie. Maybe this is all media play. They're gonna release it somewhere down the road or on a streaming service or something, and then all of a sudden, it's gonna get huge millions of people to watch it.
The interview because Kim Jong-un didn't like the fucking movie because it made fun of him. Because Seth Rogen made fun of a Korean dictator. Let's pull this movie off the fucking theaters, and they released it straight to Netflix. And it's not like everybody didn't watch the movie. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not like, I'm telling you right now, somebody's getting a bootleg cut of this movie. People are going to see this movie. Yeah. There's no way, especially after all this hype, that this movie is going to go unviewed by the fucking American public. All you're doing is cutting out your own profits, which to them, I think is, like I said, it's a risk to reward scenario. So, it's like a car recall. If you got a faulty seatbelt, but the amount of money it costs to fix the seatbelt is higher than the amount of money that you will get sued by the people that the seatbelt affected, you don't fix the fucking seatbelt. But if you think the lawsuits are going to outweigh the cost of fixing the seatbelt, then you recall all the cars and you fix the fucking seatbelt. This is the same thing. This is them thinking that the lawsuits that come from this movie, if there is a fucking domestic, attack on a whatever, and some dude puts the hunt in the fucking manifesto, the amount of lawsuits they generate will be way higher than any profits they make off of some Universal movie about political discourse. So they scrapped it.
Publicity or the publicity from it is so damning that it's a net loss because people start boycotting Universal or it starts
Do
wounding
people really
the
give
brand.
a fuck about the studios? Do people really boycott studios? I can name 10 fucking movies right now. Nobody will know the 10 studios that fucking made them.
That's true.
I mean, I just went and saw The Kitchen the other day, and they ran the DC Vertigo logo in the beginning. I was like, oh shit, this was a comic? Like, oh, cool. Like, it's something I didn't know going in. You know, nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a fuck.
I think that rounds off our weekly news. And one thing we did want to get to today, and just because, hey, for those of you who don't know, we have a voicemail line here at the Nerd Cantina. If you ever think that something we're saying is missing the mark, you want to give us a correction, or you just want to have your thoughts be heard, you can feel free to call in at the voicemail line, which you can find on the nerdcantina.com, and let us know your thoughts as one of our listeners and friends of the show, Sean Mullen did. And we'll go ahead and play his thoughts. This is following our The Boys review from last week, which was a spoiler-full review. So understand that his voicemail also has little spoilers in there. So here's your warning to back on out. This is the end of the this is the end of the episode. And if you haven't seen The Boys and you don't want it spoiled for you, go ahead and hit pause here. But we'll go ahead and play it and see his thoughts on some of the elements of The Boys that we didn't cover and failed to cover last week.
Hey guys, it's Sean. Pretty awesome. You guys have like a voicemail thing. It makes me feel like radio or something. So with The Boys, there's tons of stuff I could talk about, but I think it's, I feel like it's kind of important, don't be scared to, I think obviously, discuss the Deep and his arc, especially between, what happens with him and Starlight in the beginning and then his slow fall from there. And then not only that, of course, is the justice that's served there at the end. And there's still obviously more. We don't know how far things are going to affect him and what's going to happen. There's still more seasons to go. But the fact that the same situation, like a similar situation that happened between him and Starlight happens with that girl at the end. I think it's like the last episode or second to last episode where she's, sticking her hands in his gills and it's unwanted and he doesn't, he's like trying to push her away, trying to stop her. Now, he could easily have physically overpowered this woman and destroyed her, just like Starlight could have easily overpowered the Deep and destroyed him, but they were both in a situation where they had no choice but to concede, at least, or felt that they had no choice. Now, the Deep, because of what had happened to him, he was exiled, and he got in trouble with Starlight. Everybody knew about it. This woman, sexually harassing him, raping him, whatever you want to call it, like, who's gonna, if he had thrown her or done anything to physically hurt her, everybody's gonna take her side. So he's forced to just sit there and take it. And that's kind of like how it was with Starlight, so that was a cool little clever thing. Originally when I first saw the scene, like, my one gripe is I was like, oh man, this feels forced. Like, they're trying to make the same thing happen to him that he did to her, but he could easily just overpower her. And then, thinking about it later, I was like, well, duh, that's the same situation she was in. She could have overpowered him, but she felt like, if she did, she would have been in more trouble or lost her job, this or that. Well, she was just in a position where she had to just take it. And so, I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. And that's totally something that they did for the show. Different, I don't know. Yeah, but that's a whole other thing. And then I guess the other thing to bring up, is the character changes, the sexes for both Mallory and Stillwell. I thought that was a cool choice, a little modernization there. And it worked really well. I mean, I was digging Mallory as a woman, and Stillwell was that was a beautiful role and it worked really well. You had
all right, and so there was Sean Mullen, and I appreciate the thought, and he had a much more nuanced approach or thought into what we, I think, just described as their take on the Me Too movement, with Starlight being forced into sexual acts by.
Yeah, it sounds like he had a few more college courses than I did.
Yeah, he's really highlighting that. Yeah, it's a bit nuanced in the way that the producers kind of put this together, both on the Deep against Starlight, and it's that these things are rarely about power. Starlight had the power advantage, and she in no way needed to do this. It was about the pressure and influence. And then down the road, same thing with the Deep, where they really turn his whole arc in weird directions. But it throws back that a normal regular person through just kind of pressure and in the moment, it made no difference that he had the power advantage. He still fell victim to violation.
Yeah, it was an interesting, because my brain didn't go there necessarily when I watched it. I knew the subject matter they were touching on, but I didn't read it that deep into
me neither.
The Deep. So like for him to kind of highlight that is a little illuminating, and I'm curious as to how much of our audience actually kind of picked up on that. Now that he said now that he kind of shined a light on it, it's hard not to see it that way. So I'm wondering that if a lot of our audience kind of picked up on that the nuance of the situation, or if it kind of just went over everybody's head like it did me.
Yeah, and then his other points, which got cut off there at the end, but he was just pointing out the fact that they recasted it in a sense from the comics. Both Stillwell and Mallory were males in the comics, so the head of Vought was a male, and I think the actress that played Stillwell was great. I think it was actually a great recasting into a female role. It really got to play out on that kind of that development of
fucking
Homelander's
Elizabeth
character.
Shue, man.
Yeah.
Cocktail. Like, as an 80s baby, Shue's got a special place in my heart. Adventures in Babysitting was one of my favorite movies growing up. It was in Chicago. Being a kid from Chicago, seeing them slide down that triangle angular building and going to Lower Wacker and all the blues bars of Chicago, like that movie will always hold a special place in my heart. So to see her back on the screen again when I started it up and watched the first episode, I was like, oh shit. I was like, what's up, Shu? What's up?
But she was a great character who really, I think, Homelander is a great character, even outside of the show. Homelander is a great character in TV, movies.
It's not just the typical villain. It's a very complex villain, and I love those kinds of characters.
And making her a female and kind of playing into that weird kind of mommy son sexual weirdness that they had. I thought
some
was
weird take on Hamlet.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and I think making her a female character, that the head of Vought was great, and then Mallory, who is was she CIA?
She was the CIA
FBI
who recruited the Butcher.
Yeah, so the head of the boys is a woman in the show, but not so in the comics. And again, she played a good character. It kind of got them to do something different, where it was her grandkids who died that took her out of the game, and kind of got to change that backstory a little bit for that character Mallory.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how you do these changes. You know what I mean? So you shouldn't just gender swap or race swap just to do it. If you're gonna do it, write in something that really ties that choice to the content. So like you said, is they didn't just make her a female CEO. They took the fact that she was a female CEO and intertwined that into the ongoing plot, the ongoing story, and made that choice have some more depth. So you don't get the comic book fans that are just like, oh, they just did it to do it, this is bullshit. No, they had a more grandiose purpose for doing that gender swap. Maybe the original idea was just like, look, we need more female characters, we need more powerful female characters, but when they made that choice, they also said, well, let's write in some other things that give the show a more broader dynamic for this female character, which is to me the right way to do that kind of shit. Like I didn't have any problem with them.
Yeah, so I appreciate Sean pointing out that difference. We talked about some other changes that they made from the comics to the show, but we didn't talk about that one. So appreciate the notes.
Yeah, and like we say every week, guys, we're not here to close off the conversation. We don't want you guys to just take our opinions and think that we're some kind of experts. We're just starting the conversation, and we're really glad that Sean called in to continue that conversation this week. We encourage you guys to do the same. Call, right in the comments section on YouTube or our website. We have a forums. Like, you know the deal. It's the internet. There's plenty of places for you to shit your opinion all over us. So just go ahead and do it. We're waiting for it.
And as you heard with Sean's there, if you're going to call the voicemail line, you got a 3-minute mark to hit. So
that is not in our control. We didn't realize that till just now. So if you have to treat it like Twitter, give us a 3-minute one, and then come back and give us another 3-minute one if you have to. But just know that clock is ticking. You're on the clock.
But all right, well that rounds off our show for the week. So thanks for listening to episode 29 of the Nerd Cantina Show. As always, we love what we're doing here. We appreciate all the engagements, and we appreciate you listening. We hope that you've already subscribed to all of our things, right? Join the YouTube channel, get some timely reviews before you're heading to the movies on the weekends, and then like and subscribe on whatever podcast player you're listening to, and it'll help us keep this thing going. It'll help us find a larger audience, and then hopefully that means more entertainment in our community at thenerdcantina.com/community that if you're not a member of, join, because it's a fun Facebook group, as we're having a lot of great discussions and sharing of articles and things that take place in that community.
Yeah, we hit some big benchmarks this weekend. We're over 12,000 downloads now, and that's all thanks to the support of the Nerd Cantina and everything that our audience does to wear the shirts out in public, put the stickers out where people can see them. We do have merchandise and things like that. We love our community. That was the whole point of us starting this. Is the nerd community is a really fun place to be. A lot of interesting opinions, a lot of interesting conversations, and I would say the majority of which are very fun and outgoing people, especially once a lot of them feel comfortable in their own space. So that was our main goal of starting this show and website, was to create our own little space of the internet, the interwebs, that we call the Nerd Cantina. And we really appreciate everybody that comes in and participates in that. So thank you very much, guys.
All right, that all said, that's the end of our show. Thanks again, nerds.
See you.
Real quick, we just wanted to mention one of our favorite new apps, which is Podcoin. So assuming that because you're listening to our podcast today that you happen to be a podcasting nerd, and if you are, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't want to get paid for your time.
I'm a big fan of getting paid to do stuff that I do in my daily routine anyways. I sign up for all the rewards programs possible. And with Podcoin, you actually get paid to listen to podcasts. So every minute that goes by that you're listening to your podcast, you are throwing away potential money.
So go ahead, download Podcoin app on either through iTunes or through the Google Play Store. And when you sign up with the promo code Nerd Cantina.
One word. That'll get you 300 free coins towards your account, and get you on your way to earning that first reward from either Amazon gift card, Target gift cards, all kinds of things. You could also donate your coins to your favorite charity that they offer. If you're going to be listening to podcasts anyways, you might as well get some free stuff for doing it. So download the Podcoin app, put in the code the Nerd Cantina, get your free coins, and start earning money while you listen to our show.